If you have actually wanted to change your life to whom you want to be or what you want to be, what you aspire to be, then this video is for you, because today I have prepared to give one of the most powerful information that you may have never come across in the YouTube in a single video. If this video here today didn't change your life from grace to grace, from poor to rich, from lack to having abundance, to manifesting the life that you want, to manipulating your own reality in your own terms, then nothing, no video in the entire YouTube is gonna change your life. The reason there is I have checked a lot of videos, I have watched a lot of people talk, but they haven't come into that very context where someone decided to summarize the whole thing in one video like I'm about to do today. The entire existence of is being governed by a certain factors and element, and this fact governs every other thing. It is obviously not money as most of you would think. It is governed by immaterial and thoughts. And these thoughts, the way you manipulate it, different from one person to another. Don't be quick to say, I have listened to this kind of lesson or information before. This is a different information. I will go on to say that if you really don't know whom you are, you can never recover, you can never change your reality. There is a lot of videos on the internet about identity shifting, laws of attraction, mirror principle. They are all revolving just around the same summary which I'm about to give you here, and even more. Let's take a look at one thing here. The hardest thing in this life is not even to make money. To make money is not the hardest thing. One of the hardest things I've actually discovered is that people find it so hard to believe in new concept, and not just only believing in new concept, and have faith in it. Now, when I talk about faith, what you actually think about faith is about the Christianity. No, faith applies to anything, and I'm going to explain it to you. Belief is just the primary part of faith. Belief is a short term, while faith is a long term. You're believing that you're going to do something is just the first face value of it. You're making commitment that you're going to do it until the day you die is the faith. Having a belief in it over a long term, putting your life on the line without doubt is what I define as faith. A lot of people whom we see today, we don't often take time to analyze how they control the reality that we now so much appreciate. Example of that which I'm going to be using here is the person of Hans Zimmer. Hans Zimmer is a musician, but we know him as the greatest movie scorer ever. And why is that? Because the way he scores movie is like never before. It's epic, it is outstanding, it is unique, it is incomparable. Let's take a look at the Pirate of the Caribbean. He gave it a masterpiece kind of score that every one of us can reckon with and even resonate with. If we go over more, there are a lot of them, but the factors, the main thing which I want to teach you about this very man here is not even about scoring those movies, but the idea, the processes of scoring it and getting it into perfection, getting it to exactly how we want it, is the main takeaway that most of us are actually not grabbing. What did this man do when he wanted to score a movie? He, first of all, unlike some other people, he will go through the script, go through the motion, every detail of the movie script, he will go through it and know when there is action. And now what happens? This is something which have never been done before. Now he want to do it and want to perfect it. He want to give it the best shot. Now, do you know what he do? He goes into the dimension of where he wants to stay and manipulate his reality and start manipulating the reality from there. What I'm trying to say here is, when you believe that you want to become a millionaire today, and you believe that there is a certain business which you're going to be doing, be you as an entrepreneur or be you some kind of a boss somewhere who is not an entrepreneur, and you believe that that business is actually going to make you that much money to become whom you are, the business proposal or the plans which you have that you want to use to do whatsoever, that very thing which you have, if you don't step up and live and go ahead to live in the reality of that very dream which you have, you cannot change that reality. You cannot manipulate that reality. Now let's go back to the Hans Zimmer. On the Hans Zimmer side, Hans Zimmer will go through each of the scenes. If it is actions, he submerge his own feelings, and I'll say some sort of shift his own kind of life line and put his own, just chisel his own feelings right inside that very part and start to manipulate it from there. So what he technically doing is going into the future of his own image and projected thoughts to manipulate his own reality. But before he did all these things, before he did all these miraculous and wonderful things, which most of you have not deeply talked about or thought about, he believed it. And he didn't have any single doubt that he will not make the best out of that very movie or score, whichever movie he wants to, through the same process. Now, that is a great lesson to us, which I'm going to be giving you some other instances. Now, the first thing which I was supposed to have started with you is telling you whom you are. Most of you don't know whom you are. And if you don't know whom you are, you cannot recover what you have lost. And if you cannot recover what you have lost, your life is going to constantly be in recovery mode. And you are not going to go up. You're not going to grow financially. You're not going to grow mentally. You're not going to grow in any walks of life, in any aspect of life. So knowing yourself is one of the key factors which most people often disregard when trying to teach you about how to change your reality, how to manipulate your reality to what you want, because that is exactly what everyone wants. Everybody wants to be the architect of his own reality, but the process is what most of us often fail to know how, the right process to take to actualize that dream, to change our reality to what we want, is what most people actually lost. And that is what I'm about to give you today. So, and it begins with you knowing whom you are. You are not you. You are just a tool that is machined to pass some information through. And what that means is that you are just a tool that creates image. You are some sort of a generator. You are like a generator that powers the whole city. But this city we're talking about is just your own city. But for instance, I want you to think within yourself, reflect upon this just for a moment. Everything which you have been doing, which you have so much put your hard work on, your heart on, your sweat on, it was working, at least up to 80%. Now decide one day now to withdraw your effort. Let's say there is some sort of relationship which you are the one who has been stretching your hand, you have been the one who is always reaching out. Stop reaching out and that relationship is gonna die. If you have been the one who have been reaching out, you are the life in that relationship, not even the other person. If you have been building a home, or you have been controlling your own business, and you have been monitoring and doing all you are going to do to supervise everyone to make sure that they are up and running according to the plan which you have, or according to the goal which you have, step off from that very top right there which you are, and that business is going to collapse. So what it means is that you are the life that powers up your own city. You are the life that powers up your own reality. If you detach yourself from it, your reality will die. And that is exactly what happens to everything that is going on in the world that we are today. Now, the other aspect which you don't understand is that there is a part of you that is exactly a replica of your maker. That is the part that resembles God, not just about your image. And that is your soul, that is your mind. Your mind, on the other hand, is a digital reality simulator. I want you to listen to that again. Your mind is a digital reality simulator. It projects image. And this image is what it constantly uses as a signal to create. It uses as a bricks to build. It uses as a means of communication into the extraterrestrial world, into the immaterial world, into the spiritual realm. So whatever you do with this, your thought is what you project as image. And when you project it as image, the universe is there to capture that image in accordance with your belief. When you reflect this image out, most oftentimes you can verbally say it with words, which is like a communication which I'm making with you right now. But some others, You are internalizing some which you're not speaking out, but they are constantly there. So every single day, every single minute, your mind is generating different pictures, different images. And this image, the one that resonates higher, more in a higher frequency, that is more dominant, is what the universe is going to go with in order to implement. So that is why, and that is where the saying that you are what you think comes into play. And even the Bible says that. The Bible says, as a man thinketh is in his heart, so he is. So you cannot change your reality without changing your concept of thinking. That is why I started with that making money is not hard. What is hard is people to believe in a new concept and lay their own life on it, put their life on it on a long term. Whether it fails, they will fail with it. If they win, they wins with it. That is the key. That's the transformation tool. That's the powerful information which most of us don't actually get. When once you make that decision, then everything will start coming into helping you to achieve that thought which you have into a reality, to manipulate that thought, to materialize that thought which you have into reality. But the first thing first is you have to believe. And the second thing, you have to believe without no doubt and over a long period. Remember, I told you that belief is a short term and the key brother to faith. When you have belief and you don't have any doubt about it, you can change and alter anything. Further, when you're talking about alter, nothing in this world is fixed. Anything you see can be altered. And we alter everything which we see, we hear through our mind by this same projection of images, simulating image. If you don't know that simulation which I'm talking about, I'm going to give you an example because this is a practical spirituality, how it measured our physical and reality, how it controls the reality is what I am here to teach you today. If I tell you that there is a war going on right now, your mind will start painting the picture. We start projecting images. We start having an illusion of exactly how the world is going on. If I told you that there is a hunger in Africa right now or immense poverty, even if you have not been in Africa, you start thinking, your mind will start generating those images. And some of these images are just a short term. It's not something which our own mind go into manifesting. Why? Because we don't vibrate on it over a long term. So it is not what we think about constantly. But whatsoever we think constantly is what governs our life, is what shapes our reality. So the question is, what have you been thinking? What have you been believing? Which direction have you been heading? Because this direction is what determines what you get. This direction is what determines whom you will become. It is not just by mere words saying it, because most of the times people can say something right now and say, I believe. It is very simple to say, I believe. But when I say you should put your life on it, that is where you will know if you believe in it or not. When I say, can you be able to give your life up for it? That is where you know if you believe in it or not. Someone said, if you haven't discovered what is worth dying for, then you don't know what to live for. Until you discover that thing that is worth dying for, you are not really fit to live. So when you find that goal, when you find that thing which you are ready to burn the bridges and never to go back until you realize it, then that is when you started living. And as a matter of fact, we start dying not the very day we started getting old. It's the very day we stop believing in a new concept that will shape our reality the way we want it, is when we started dying. And the way the universe, the God has made our mind, it has no shape and it has no form, it has no limit and it has no boundary. So whatsoever we want to desire today, we can't have a boundary until the boundary we set for ourselves. The only boundary we have is the boundary we set for ourselves. So if you decide that you want to make $1 million today, you can decide to change that mindset. When you start making $1 million and say you want to make $2 million or even $10 million, and when you make that agreement, make that decision, and decide to back it up with your actions, which the Bible talked about, the Bible says, as the body is nothing or cannot do anything without the spirit, so also a faith without work is dead faith. What that means is, you're believing on anything without having a faith on it, it's not going to do anything to it. It's more like you seeing people passing by or seeing thousands of cars pass you by. You can recollect the color, you can recollect who is inside. But when you're going to get to start knowing who is inside the car, the license plate, who is driving the car, is when you decide to observe. And that observation is where you're going to get real detail. And that is actually what is going to take your time. So time is important and critical element to changing the reality we want any day, anytime. So, however, there is something which you guys also need to understand, that the entire teaching of the Bible, that's why I say that one of the hardest things for humanity to believe is to believe, because most people actually find it very hard to believe. And that is why this entire structure of the Bible talks about nothing more than belief, love, and faith. Is that a coincidence? It's not a coincidence. Now, when we take a look at the universal law, the entire structure of universal law is talking about almost the same thing: faith, belief, and love. However, the universal law just shifts a little bit because it also talks about how we can be able to attract something that we don't want by by constantly reflecting upon that. Like, let's say that someone came up right now and say that tomorrow we're going to be going to Africa through a car. One of the person will say, no, that's impossible. Now, if you say it's impossible, and you constantly think that it's impossible, keep saying, then the universe is going to keep supplying you everything to confirm that it's impossible. But the other guy who said this is possible, when should we start? The universe will arm him with whatsoever he needs. We begin to arm him. We begin to formulate every process, every protocol, any obstacle, to beat any obstacle in order to be able to make it to Africa. So it's still one goal which two people can actually be able to attain individually, but one decided to go on the negative part and the other one choose to go on the positive part. However, the second phase here is, if I say that I want to become a millionaire in 10 months, that is just like a mere talk, right? However, there is something that is a very, very important element that we often disregard when we make such kind of statements there. It doesn't have any actionable faith. The faith the Bible talks about is, if I say I want to make $10 million right now, I need to logically think through the business or whatsoever that I'm doing right now. Can you be able to make me up to $10 million in that stretch? If you cannot make me up to $10 million, if I've decided to start dwelling that I cannot make $10 million, then I will not make it. But however, if I started asking what business or how do I polish this business that I'm currently doing in order to make $10 million, then that concept is what the universe is going to also go with. So there are two sides of the coin. The one is that you might choose to resonate, to vibrate on that I can't be able to do it. It is too much. It is not achievable. Then the universe will say, okay, it's not achievable. And supply you all those to complain and feed anyone who comes near you. I believe you've seen a lot of people who give a lot of excuses for their failure. Yes, that is exactly how this world is. Then the other person who decided to succeed, the universe is going to arm him with everything possible. Any spiritual support, from the spiritual realm to physical, because the spirit controls the physical, whether you like it or not. It doesn't matter if you doubt from today to tomorrow. It doesn't matter if you don't want to believe. It is the reality. It is what shapes your reality. And that spirituality which you're talking about, what actually mirrors the reflection of your spiritual existence is your mind. Your conscious, your subconscious mind is what reflects your spirituality. So the moment you started applying the work of faith to anything you want to do, you start realizing it. But first, you have to believe that it works, that it's going to work without doubt. You have to believe the process, whichever logical way which you have decided you want to embark on to be able to actualize that dream, you have to believe it. Like I gave you an example of Hans Zimmer, that he studied the script and knows when there is going to be a sorrowful moment and find a way to score that sorrowful moment based on that very movie, not any other movie, based on the very character, based on the very script. Then when he goes to the action part, action scenes, based on that very event in the real world, is what he's going to want to create. That he deals with the reality of his unbelief. So whatever you want to be tomorrow, if you want to become a pilot, let's say you want to become a wrestler tomorrow, you start right now to start thinking like a wrestler, start to put on clothes like a wrestler. You started doing everything like a wrestler. The universe doesn't care if it is fake or not, so long as you can be able to immerse a feeling inside it and dive into the reality of the tomorrow which you want to create as your own life. It will give you the access, and instantly you will start manipulating the reality. And one other thing again which I want to add here when it comes to that is, when we believe and we say we want to do something, one of the key ingredients, one of the key factors that often propels us to start manifesting that which we burn so much, we burn desire, we have a lot of intensity of desire on, is our actionable faith. If I have 3 people in this room right now, let me tell you how the universe works. I always try to give you guys a practical example. When we have 3 guys in this room right now, and we want to go and get a single girl, a girl that is standing there and she doesn't have a boyfriend. Now, out of the 3, one of us decided that, let's say the second guy said that he can just call her. If she doesn't come, then he doesn't go any further. Then the third guy, maybe the first guy also said that he will only need to collect her number. Are you listening, guys? Now the third guy say he can't just ask for her phone. He can just collect the number, that he will both collect the number. She will go to talk to her, and she will go to touch her and talk to her and make sure that whatever happens, that he must make sure that he gets her. Which one do you think the girl is going to choose or accept? That's likely the girl is going to accept. Is the third guy who has the balls not only to collect her phone number, but to talk to her and have considered in his heart that he will never back off until she is his. The same thing. Now let me still give you another example. If you are to build a home project right now, and you invite the 2 architects or 3 architects, and you tell them to give you a projection of what it's going to take to build the infrastructure or the building which you want to build, and you give them like 2 days to go ahead and work on something. You just give them some idea. You projected an image of what you want. Then after the 2 days, one of them actually have made not just only a plan, but made a model, a 3D model. The second person only made a sketch. The third person say he has it in his mind. Which of them will you want to work with? Tell yourself the truth, because the truth matters. And if you act on the truth, if you act on the fake thing, like as if it's the truth, in the universe accept it as the truth. So the person whom you're going to work with is the person who have actually designed a plan and even projected a model in a 3D, because he's fast. He shows that he is very much willing to go in with you instantly. So that is exactly how the universe deals with us. So anyone who is willing to make that move faster, the universe works with that person instantly without even wasting any time. So if I say that I want to manifest a car right now, and I have been dreaming about it, and when I see a car, I run into the bush. Believe me, the other guy who have the guts to go to where the sales car, to price it, and even go ahead to have the guts, even when he doesn't have a penny, a cent in his pocket, go ahead to even collect the key and test drive the car, we get that car first. I want you guys to understand the principle of immersing yourself in the reality of that which you want, because as soon as you do it, instantly the transmutation of your thought into reality start materializing, start actualizing instantly. There is no holding back, there is no falling back, there is no return. So when you understand this very principle here, it is as simple as that. The mirror principle works the same way. You cannot get what you don't reflect on the outside. It's whatever you reflect on the inside that becomes outside. So if you decide that you want to become a pilot today, you have to become a pilot from the inside. You have to start projecting the image of becoming a pilot from the inside. Then you will become a pilot. Even the Bible says something like that. The Bible says, when you pray and ask for anything, believe that you have received it and you will receive it. And the universal law says what? That whenever you ask for anything, you should also act like you have received it. You should live, express the happiness and gratitude in the reality of that which you have already asked for. That is still the same thing the Bible is saying in the other word. And the Bible also goes to tell you that do not be conformed to the standard of this world, but be ye transformed. That's the book of Romans. Be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. That is also something which I often tell people most often times when I teach, that look, it is still the same thing Isaac Newton told you in the first law of motion, that an object will remain in its state of rest or motion until acted upon by force. So you will not change your reality if you are not willing to make new decisions and bet your life on it. If the entire Bible has been written on to believe and have faith, then the universal law also says the same thing. It can't be a coincidence, guys. All you need to do is to believe. I'm not teaching you something here because I have scripted it. I'm teaching you because this is something I practice every day. I apply different method to different situations, and it works like a magic. I'm living in abundance of that which I have been dreaming and chiseling myself into. I make this actionable faith in almost everything that I want. Because as soon as you make that actionable faith, like I said, if you want to, the very example of an actionable faith, if you didn't get it correctly, is if I want to build a home right now, I will first need a plan. I'm gonna need a plan or have a mental picture, but the mental picture most often times is not always very powerful. Go ahead and pay an architect to design a plan. It is very good you pay. Why? Even if you don't pay, depend on your vibration, but when you pay, there is always that spirit, there is always that connection. The Bible says where a man's wealth, treasure is, there lies his heart. So wherever you put your money, your mind is going to be there. So use your own money to create a connection that will hook you up with your own future, that will create your own reality. It is that simple. So if I want to build a house right now and my mind is doubting, could it be possible, could it not be possible, quickly do the activation of faith by going to get the model. If you start having any doubt again, go ahead and get the plot, buy the plot. And when you buy the plot, make that commitment that will hold you to it, that no matter the rain and sunshine will not deter you from moving further, that you have no option to go back. That's what I talked about, the burning of the bridges. When you burn the bridges, you have no option. Your entire body, your entire mind, your entire spirit will be chiseled in there. Don't forget that word. Where a man's treasure is, there lies his heart. Where your money is, that is where your heart is. So put your money where your mouth is. You have heard it from a lot of people, but I didn't go on to explain it to you this way. When you put your money where your mouth is, then the rest of your body will follow. Your body is just meant to obey what your projected images from your subconscious mind is doing. Your willpower, everything about you. You're going to gym today, you want to decide to become whom whatsoever you want to decide today. Before your foot start going there, the decision has been made from your thoughts. And this is what shapes our reality. So have it at the back of your mind. The life that you now have is a constant reflection of what you have been holding in your thought. Wherever you are today is where you have been thinking about the last 5 to 1 decade ago. You are constantly changing. Each time you change your decision, you change your reality. Because the decision which you're changing is something which you put your life on. I want you to check that for yourself. So begin today by believing, by making your decisions in the direction of where you want to go. Then go ahead to live in the reality of that which you want to be. And your reality will start changing instantly. Okay, guys, I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.